Same here.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I hope you had an amazing weekend.
Very well.
Kadibo Airport in the States. Odi, in a statement signed by Moses Odika, head of media of his campaign organization, Anyiga Emea Movement, alleged that Governor Nwifuru has wasted so much millions of naira on the airport that was deemed to have been completed by the past administration of David Uwahi, who is now Minister of Works. He disclosed.
What you already said about Nwifuru is a fact, and not peculiar to Ebonyi State. For us, in the civil society space, we have said it severally, that we just have a lot of people who have no business being in government, finding themselves in government, mostly because they are forced on us by one godfather or the other, people who previous administration can control. For God's sake, Ebonyi State is a state where they mine a lot of things. Stones, sand, and other mineral resources that can be used to provide marble and several other things. One would have expected, and our government would have invested, start and finishing aspect of granite and marble production. These are the kind of company that one would have thought, Ebonyi State is a mass farmland. One would have thought that the governor would have enrolled his agriculturists. But we think that our government should be more responsible, especially in this time of economic crunch, where there is a lot of poverty, hunger everywhere. One would have expected that government should be more responsible, should be more circumspect, and invest our resources properly, just so that there could be reduction in hunger, there could be reduction in poverty, and less of it is popular because of hunger and poverty and lack. Once you fix poverty and lack, all these agitations in the Southeast will be quelled naturally.
Okay, I wanted to ask, after the 20 billion naira was spent, and then another fund, Oluremi Tinubu, commissioned this, she was invited twice on 2 different occasions to commission this airport. Do you think there's a question to be asked, like, why did this have to happen the second time? What do you think? Like, do you think that this was like what I'm trying to get a word, a covering that the senator is actually commissioning it, so it's on a goodwill? Like, because she was invited the first time and the second time, do you think this was used as an avenue to cover up something?
Well, it is what it is. Petty politics, patronage. I have just told you here that the people we have in government at different levels in this country do not represent or reflect the aspirations and the wishes of the ordinary people. So because of that, their loyalty, their allegiance is to some few godfathers and people with mass of political. The Minister for Works, for instance, it is what it is. The owner of Ebonyi State PLC. So, and these are these fiefdoms on different states. So what you are seeing, like I said, is an issue of patronage, petty politics, loyalty not to the ordinary people. Because why? In the first place, the way Amanda even came, the president's wife is invited to come and.
Reason why these resources were not used instead for road construction and implementing other resources that, like you talked about, the mining sector, in the states, because Ebonyi State, as it stands, is a beautiful state in Nigeria for that particular aspect. Well, do you think that there was a reason why those resources were not used for these purposes than the construction of the airports? Because according to Odi, he said that this airport has not yielded any funds since the commission it was commissioned. Do you think that there was a reason why these funds were not used for those purposes, like I mentioned?
I have told you here first and foremost that our government.
Do you think there's a situation like that?
Yeah, because first of all, the way and manner they came into power, they emerged as political leaders. Because you cannot give what you know. So they come together and say, oh, this man will become governor. So when that happens, at every point in time, all their actions and inactions are towards satisfying these few persons and themselves. And that is why you see at every point in time they quarrel. By the time they begin to continue that pattern, a particular time comes. Before you know, you hear that the governor of the state and the political, so-called political leaders and owners of Ebonyi State are quarreling. The reason for it is just simple. It is that, I don't know, because, but if they are doing roads, go and check very well. You see, either that road is leading towards their supermarket, or their wife's supermarket, or their friend's a nightclub, or their rally. One would have asked, Ebonyi State is very close to Enugu. There's an airport in Enugu. There are equally some other sister states, depending on the part of Ebonyi, that is close to airport. So, reasonably thinking, what will be taking me to Ebonyi that will warrant me to use a flight? Most likely, the things that will take me to Ebonyi will reimburse us so that our people can be enjoying.
Resources should be used for the right purpose and for the benefits of the human consumption. But moving forward, the organized labor in Ibadan or your state urged President Bola Tinubu to reverse the floating of national currency and energy costs to lessen the hardship across the country. Under the edges of the National Union of Shop and Distributive Employees, NUSDE, organized labor noted that Nigerians and businesses are passing through very difficult times and that the federal government needs to address the issues urgently before things on. Who spoke while addressing guests and members at production, services and living so cost of production and services living are very high, and then the purchasing power of the vast majority. Many Nigerians have been forced into poverty and even destitution. Many factories cannot sell their products, and this has led to the collapse of many service costs and production costs. Tinubu should immediately reduce energy costs of electricity and petroleum products drastically. We were just talking about resource misuse, and then we have here where the NSUDCU, where electricity tariffs and petroleum. Because right now, we will agree that the petrol price has actually gone on the high rise, and it has affected the country. It has affected the citizens in terms of standard of living, in terms, like it states here, some people have lost their jobs because some companies can't even pay salaries. And then I don't know how this can be worked on. What do you think the president have to put in place to fix this problem?
First, no country in the world, I repeat, no country in the world survives without prioritizing energy. It's not possible for any society to progress. There must 100%. In fact, we issued a statement, have constant electricity supply. You don't have, you have not built alternative sources of energy like solar, through water, and several other forms of energy. You haven't built any of these things. And without alternative source of energy, the mainstay, the major source of energy in the country, which is PNS. So some people call it petrol, it's part of the world. Some people call it fuel, it's part of the world. But the main source of energy, you said that you are going to remove the subsidy on it. And our position is very clear. And that at most, with the current economic indices on ground, that they can import fuel and sell at the rate of 600 naira. And of course, you saw the jack. Immediately, there is trouble everywhere, that is confusion. And they said it very clearly that yes. So what do you have? You have a system where a government is ready, like we said, they are here to bury the economy. You have a system where the government in one hand is saying that they have privatized, where a private company is now deciding, barely everything dictating and deciding at what cost any item will be sold. When that different companies are producing different products, that one company will now decide what happens to a particular product and now fix the price. Dangote recently came on board. After the back and forth, we have our issues with Dangote, and we know, of course, we have accusing severally of being part of our problem. That is a topic for another day. But the point is that they issued a statement. And what was the statement? They said that, they are going to sell at any price that the NNPCL is going to decide. And one begins to wonder, how do you relate with that? Begin to internally here produce petroleum products. That is our argument.
Why do you think they have not come to their realization, to the conclusion to internalize the locally made PMS?
Simple. Corruption. Corruption. That's why I said irresponsibility. Corruption. Lack of the will. And most important, and you can put me on record, is the fact that most of these things are even World Bank and IMF policies. We have said very clearly here that we cannot continue to be run by policies of the World Bank and policies of the internet from IMF and World Bank, and to tell us that subsidy must be removed. Who told? See, you can go and find it. Investing in frivolities. I have told those who care to listen that our problem is not just the problem of our revenue generation. It is more of revenue distribution. What do I mean? What I mean is that, assuming that in Nigeria, as a government, we are able to generate 10 naira. The problem is not whether the 10 naira is too small or too big. No, that's the problem. The problem is, how is that 10 naira distributed? So you now have a situation whereby a father is telling his children, oh, there is no money, oh, there is no money, you can't go to school, oh, Barry, oh, there is no money, there is problem, oh. You understand? The same father is seen carrying young women to hotels. The same father is seen spending money on beer parlor. He spends money on frivolities, he drives exotic cars, and yet he's telling his wife and children there is no money in the house. That is what the Nigerian government is doing. And we have to stop that nonsense. For us to be taken seriously. You cannot relate. If any minister comes to Ozoba, for instance, or comes into River State, for instance, the kind of entourage, the kind of manpower in terms of security, the kind of exotic cars they will be coming with does not correlate with a government that is telling us that there is no money. First, you have to see it on those who we have elected into governance that, yes, there is no money. You cannot be at the slightest of opportunity. You see them in Europe living A-class lives. The same people are not telling us there is no money. You can't do that. So first of all, government should invest heavily in government. See, you cannot tell me that you want to be a governor, you want to be a president, you want to be in government, but you cannot do government business. No, you can't do that. If you want to be in the private sector, leave government and go and be in the private sector. You cannot be in government and practically everything you do in government, you give it out to the private sector. You want to, there is no, how many of our ministries can do road? Why would you have the Ministry of Works and the ministry cannot do roads? And if it is a mega road, you want to contract it out to Super A, Super B, carriage road, big roads. But our Ministry of Works should be able to do small internal roads. Small roads that connect small cities together. Our Ministry of Works in the different states, our Ministry of Works in the local government areas should have the capacity to do a small road, passion of food and all that. You cannot be in government and be telling me that you want to start doing almost everything you do is you push it to the private sector. So first is that we have given this example severally on several national television stations. And what is my argument? My argument is that I cannot come from Boko in Benue. I have yam and I will be importing pounded yam. It is the height of madness. That is the only explanation for the rubbish we are doing.
Where you are coming from, but I would plead that you watch certain words that are used on air. You know, I understand that, yes, we are trying to speak for the masses, you know, and we're trying to plead to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to understand our plight. But in as much as we're trying to do that, we would have to watch words that are being used, if that's fine by you.
No, it's okay, but like, but the situation of the country, I begin to tell our truth to power.
Thank you.
If we must be taken seriously.
Thank you. In as much as we are going through difficult times, we believe that Nigeria will be a better place, and we plead that those in power will do things necessary to make sure that everything is in the right direction. But moving forward, coalition of nothing, new tax reform initiative by some Northern leaders, anti-North bills. The bill is designed to streamline tax collection, ensure compliance, and optimize revenue. However, the FGDA has raised concerns that the implementation of the bill will disproportionately affect the northern region economically and commercially. In a statement issued in Kaduna and signed by the group's convener, Jibril, coalition and existing developmental challenges of our people, especially given the current harsh economic conditions, including insecurity, severe poverty, and the coalition warned. The group has called on the northern youths and citizens to join the protest to halt further actions on the tax reform bills, stressing that the North cannot afford any more policies that worsens its already there situation. We're still going on, still back and forth about almost similar situation, but I would love to get your thoughts on this.
I think there are two prongs to this. First is the fact that some elements in the North, by that I mean in northern Nigeria, don't want to pay appropriate tax. And that country, hiding under pseudo groups like this, to begin to make this kind of, most resources, especially that are not nationalized, mostly by way of, because one, it is illegal, and two, it is class. So it's time as a people we sit down and ask ourselves, do we want physical federalism? And for me, for our pure nature, ethnicity, religion, the way and manner we were even brought together as a country. White. Instead of doing the white, we now redefine it in the Nigerian white. That's one of the biggest problems. So what we have now, I don't know if federalism or in unitary or both, confusion everywhere like either states or regions control their resources depending on the agreement. So that way nobody quarrels with anybody. The federal government in every item, every resource, it's a question of governance and for instance, you want to distribute electricity. So instead of having decentralized source of electricity generation and distribution, you now have one national grid. Once it collapses, it is not federalism. Not like someone say, let us participate. No. See, let us pass it federalism. Everybody, either at the state level, if that is what we agree, or regional level, if that is what we agree, manage your resources and pay tax to government. And government takes care of national police, immigration, and other items. And meanwhile, the federal government now uses their own 50% to now manage all of these things, national security, diplomacy, and what have you, the people. So they not see what we are saying and all that. But the question is, now that the North is not paying the amount of tax they ought to pay, how developed is the North? We that are so-called paying excesses of the tax we are paying, how is it developed? So the question is, these resources, whether it is collected from them or not, it will still go the way the one of the South is going. So it's the question of accountability and governance. That a man who abandoned his family to start getting drink and carry women is responsible.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm trying to say is, I would love you to take back your words of vulgar languages.
And what is the vulgar here? That I said that a man is irresponsible for abandoning his children? Is it responsible?
No,
is it the Nigerian interpretation of what vulgar is? You know, I've just accused Nigerians of having our own definition of everything.
Can you please do that?
That's what I'm saying. That to do what, really?
Just take back your words of vulgar languages.
Which of the words?
Be a gentleman. The words of irresponsibility.
No. We are not in the bedroom, please. We are discussing very serious national issues.
Yes, we are. But I would really plead you do that.
I'm really wondering what I should take back.
Just take back the words that you called names and the irresponsible words. Just say, I take back my word. And we continue.
That's what I'm saying. Taking back my word on what? I think I have to be frank enough that I can't see the level of hunger, starvation, poverty.
I am Nigerian.
Yes.
And I live in this country.
Okay.
We're all Nigerians, and we're experiencing the same thing.
Sure.
And we know what it feels like to stay a day without eating.
Yeah.
Affected by the electrical tariff, the lot of things. I understand your agitation, like I said, and in this situation, I can also speak my mind.
Sure.
But in as much as we want to be heard, we want to say them in ways. The drunk father you talked about. If you want to correct, they're saying that if you want to correct a child, you beat the child with one hand and you drag the child with the other hand.
Yeah.
You know, you need to know words to use when you're trying to correct people of their mistakes. That's what I'm trying to draw your attention to. You know, so I'm still waiting for you to do that. Let's continue. It's not a big deal. Anyway.
To do what exactly?
Just say it.
That's what?
Come back, and thank you for staying with us. We still have more interesting stories for you, but before we go into the next story, we will need to go back to our comrade, and he has something to say. Comrade, what do you have to say?
Well, I stand by all I've said there, and like I said, anyone that is not comfortable with it, the law is clear as to what is going to happen. But our very beautiful anchor person here have just said for our own job and for our company's sake, I should take back my word. I'm really at loss as to what I should take my word for. But if it is going to help our organization and, of course, on our job, I take back my word for whatever is worth. But even though
moving forward, the House of Representatives member, Engineer Suleiman Abubakar Gumi, has expressed his concern over the inability of his constituents to engage in farming activities due to the devastating actions of bandits and terrorists in Zamfara State. Speaking over the weekend after he, along with hundreds of his constituents, defected from the People's Democratic Party, PDP to All Progressive Congress. Gumi noted that the prevailing insecurity has severely affected the livelihood of his people. Gumi noted that the prevailing insecurity has severely affected the livelihood of his people, who represents the Gumi Bukuyum Federal Constituency. Distributed irrigation equipment, solar pumping machines, and several incentives at the events. He also pledged to work towards the constructions of access roads to facilitate his constituents' return to their farmlands. Because of insecurity, they cannot go to farm to get their livelihood, because farming is what we do here in my region, he said. So I will focus on a lot of empowerment for them so that they can get some success from the insecurity that we are facing. He went ahead to say that we think it's better to create a permanent solution by constructing a steel bridge for them so that they can be accessing their homes and coming to town to do their normal day-to-day business. This is also ongoing right now. Every member is entitled to a certain threshold in the annual budget. At this moment, what our people are suffering from is insecurity. I announce the commencement of the construction of a major road that is leading to the farms in Gumi local government. The reason is that if we are encouraging people to go to farm, we should pave the way for them to go to farm and bring out their produce with ease. By creating that road, we will open more farmlands in areas where there is good security so that they can go to farm. And part of the things I can plan for them is to make sure we empower them as much as we can so that they can go to farm, because farming is the fastest way you can provide employment for people. Talking about insecurity, with time, quickly, please, Comrade Nefa, what are your thoughts about the situation in Zamfara State and where it's coming from, Dumi?
I've always said that the insecurity we have in this part of the world is economic insecurity. And what that means is that is insecurity fueled by economic hardship. You know, be it in the southeast, south, the north, you know, go and check it. It has always, the bedrock have always been economic insecurity. Insecurity empowered or emboldened by lack of government decision to ameliorate, to ease, you know, the suffering of the ordinary people. So what that does is it brings solidarity, you know. So when people come with religion and ethnicity to drive any movement, because of the level of hunger, it is very easy to mobilize people to that. So that is what you see in the north. And Gumi was trying to say. But again, I am really wondering if Gumi is raising these issues. I mean the lawmaker now. How, in one hand, you're saying that we can't. There's insecurity, and it's nothing is done as that regard, and you are not moving from your party to the All Progressive Congress that is saddled with the responsibility of providing security. I begin to wonder the correlation, you know, between you moving from your former party to a new party whose government have failed to do the needful in terms of providing the security. That's my my confusion with Gumi, you know, really. You know, but by and large, the issues he addressed are very germane, serious, and I think that there are issues that the federal government and all stakeholders should look at.
Okay, the insecurity in the north right now is an alarming situation, and it has called for concern. And Zamfara State is one of the states that have been affected. I wanted to get your thoughts. What do you think the Chief of Defense Staff have to do in this situation? What do you think that the military have to do better than they have been doing to to stop this insecurity issue going on in the country. Other states are actually affected as it stands. We hear cases of people going to their farmlands in the south, in the east. We hear about unknown gunmen, the bandits, the terrorists, people being kidnapped while they're on transit. We hear about different cases of insecurity in the country as it stands. But the north is actually one of the states one of the regions that is actually affected really, really seriously as it stands. So I wanted to get your thoughts. What do you think that can be done that has not been done before? A different way, that's something that has to be done differently to control the situation now.
With due respect to those who have been in charge of affairs, nothing has been done. It is, you can't solve a problem with a model you know that won't work and expect it to work. We have suggested ways, and yet they have not done any of it. One of it is to relocate the headquarters of these security chiefs to these warring places. Because we have realized in this part of the world that anywhere you see the Nigerian big man, the rich man, quote and unquote, in Nigeria, that is where there is security. So what that means is, if a commissioner is living along the street where this company is located, because of him, there will be security in this street. That is the way we operate. So we have said that the Chief of Defense Staff, Chief of Army Staff, relocate your headquarters to these warring flag points. That is one. Two, another thing is, you know, I have said that our problem is economic insecurity. If you don't resolve the economic issues, you will continue to have army for these fundamentalists, be it IPOB, be it ESN, be it Niger Delta Military, be it Boko Haram, and there's one they call that came out again recently, Zakawara, whatever, Lakurua, whatever. You just have men and material for them. Because why? You see a young man live in Sagbama. No future, no hope. The whole of the rivers are polluted. He can't even fish. All his life, he has not gotten to Inegua all his life, which is the state capital. Nothing to survive. And all of a sudden, someone taps on him that you are here. Look, you know that there are about 3 companies that are existing here. They get the crude under your soil from the river. They don't even have here. No company presence. Government that is sharing the money with them. Nothing. You are here. You are already dying. There is no hunger. Oh yeah, come. Let us go and collect our own. He's a ready recruit. Like I said, be it in the north, anywhere. So the government must begin to be responsible to address economic issues. If you address economic issues, you must have solved 50% of the problem. So that the other remaining 50, we can now deliberately begin to look at those who, no matter what you do, there are people in this world, no matter what you do, they can never be how would I put it now? They are not teachable. They are not tameable. So those ones you cannot use, after using the carrot, you cannot use the stick on those persons. But until you do that, you're wasting your time. Then thirdly, corruption in the security sector. Of course, you saw the huge amount of money that was attached to the Dasuki Gate. Of course, that matter is dying naturally. When there is no punishment, especially on the item of security, the next person that comes will collect his own, because he knows that it will still go by way of Dasuki. So when you don't punish wrongdoing, look at the amount of money that was diverted, where Dasuki and those who did it with him openly confessed on different records, mentioning names that, so when you have that kind of a country, when you have that kind of a situation, when I use the words I used the last time, you say, these words are not good. But you can imagine the kind of, how do you know the number of people that have died as a result of the Boko Haram crisis? So these are the issues.
Thank you very much, but we have to move forward. We know that the country is facing lots of insecurity issues, and we urge those in power to do something better to aid the security of the citizens. But amid the rising wave of inflation gripping the country, no fewer than 15 northern surged to 33.88% in October 2020. Country's inflation rate was 29.90%. indicating that it had increased by 13% within the first 10 months of the year. The effect is felt in most. National Security Advisor Malam Nuhu Ribadu decried the high level of poverty in northern states, especially the northeast. So here we have been going back and forth about the issue of poverty, hardship in the country, and then we have here about 15 northern states that lays 45 billion naira for poverty alleviation. I'll quickly, with time not on the side, I would like you to give us your thought on it.
I have just said that our problem is economic insecurity, and you have just, data is very stubborn. You can't use good words to massage them. Data is stubborn. They'll give it to you, pop it up. In any other part of the world, this is alarming. This is enough to declare state of emergency. But here, we are immune to things. We just talk about it and we move on. In any part of the world, this figure, look at 40.1%. It's death. It's people on death row. And this is and by the time you now look at the that's the headquarters of Boko Haram and most of these insurrection groups. So these are the issues, and we must begin to learn as a people to begin to face them heads on. Our government should begin to wake up and, for God's sake, stop being irresponsible. Within these 10 months, if I begin to mention how much government have expended on government spending within this period, you could get sick. Within this period was a period that billions of naira was spent on the Vice President's house, first by the FCT Minister and later the Federal Executive Council. It is within this period that private jets were provided. It is within this period that trashickers from one move to the government houses. They come with, latest cars. They don't governments in Nigeria don't drive old version cars. They drive latest cars. And yet you have this kind of figures. So these are the issues. You just had the amount of money that is made available for the same northern governors to distribute to their people. I don't like most of these handouts, giving handouts to people. It doesn't solve anything. I like government getting serious with the work. Invest in agriculture. People should get to work. Invest in IT. Invest in industries. So that people get to work. Where are the industries? Where is the agriculture?
Okay, the 55 billion